friends, Michelle Umlauf here with Sewing Machine Artistry. Well, it's hard to believe that it is Christmas in July and that Christmas will be here in a matter of months. Well, as you know, it's never too soon to start making your handmade projects for your friends and family. So I'm going to tell you about working with these pre-printed panels that are available in not only your local quilt stores, but also your other fabric resources as well. These pre-printed panels are beautiful just the way they are. However, you can add more embellishments to them, and you can do so with decorative threads. Sulky has a variety of decorative threads to include rayon, metallic, cotton blendable threads, regular solid color cotton threads, and poly light thread, and polyester thread as well. They're available in a variety of weights. But today I'm going to focus more on rayon thread for your free motion sewing or quilting purposes. So the panel I have behind me was actually a project for teacher certification through Sulky back in 2011. And this was just a really fun project, and the best part about the project was taking the students outside of the box and working on doing some free motion sewing in the background. So I'm going to share with you some techniques and some exercises to help you build that muscle memory so that you are well prepared when you're actually sitting down behind your sewing machine, and you'll have greater success, and that means you'll have less frustration as well. So let's take a closer look at this panel. So taking a look at this panel, you'll notice that I did some just regular straight stitching in areas that replicate what would be a border. And the technique that I would have done if that was actually sewn on is stitch in a ditch. But I just sewed along the edge of the lines there using a metallic thread. And that just gives it a little bit of sparkle, which is certainly appropriate during the holiday season. Really, it's appropriate for any season. Now, I did not do any free type of motion sewing in the borders itself because I just wanted to get this project done and do it quickly. I also did some straight stitching in along the triangles there, and then when I came to the center, I did like a meandering in the leaves, and then I outlined the petals of the poinsettia. That's just very, very simple. Taking a look to the center of the poinsettia, I did free motion sewing there, and I mimicked a zigzag stitch so that I could fill in the center area just to give it a little extra pop. You could certainly do something like hand beading there, which is absolutely gorgeous, but I decided to use the thread. Now the exercises that we're going to be focusing on pertain more to this background area, and from a distance you really can't see the pattern too well, but this is a lot of fun to work with, and that's kind of like the whole purpose of it. You know, if you can't see it too well, no one will be able to see your mistakes, but they'll notice that there's something there and it looks rather uniform. What it actually is interconnecting circles. So I'm going to show you an exercise that you can do to practice making these interconnected circles. On my website, you'll have access to this sheet, and what it is, we'll call it an exercise sheet, and it tells you step by step how to make these interconnected circles. The first line shows you where the starting point is over here, and basically you're just going to do like I call it a small wave across the top there. This is a 1/2 inch grid, and it tells you right there. And that is really a guide for you. It sets you up for success. It's very important when you're doing this type of pattern. And you're going to do the wave all the way over to the end. Once you get to the end, you just follow the arrows, and it tells you to come down and back up and over, down, back up, and over. And you'll repeat that on your own to finish the rest of the row. The next row, starts again with the same motif, but this time it's showing you how to finish the bottom portion of that circle. It's not quite completed yet. And you just repeat that exercise on your own, and you're building up that muscle memory as you go. The third line now finally makes that first circle complete by adding a little wave at the bottom, but it's important to follow the lines. You might be thinking to yourself, well, why can't I just stitch regular interconnected circles? Well, you certainly could do that, and you are in control. You're the artist here, but this is showing you a way that you can do it where it's continuous and perhaps has the least amount of opportunities where you're stitching over top of yourself and it's more uniform. So just continue practicing these exercises. And in fact, as a second exercise, what I would practice is printing this out on sticky Fabri-Solvy stabilizer. It's a wash away stabilizer that will allow you to practice this. So you would actually print out that same exercise sheet on the sticky Fabri-Solvy. Soon the sticky Fabri-Solvy will be known as Stick and Stitch. But anyway, that is a wash away stabilizer that you simply just rinse away in warm water. It's safe for your septic system. Now that it's summertime here in the US, I usually rinse this stuff out in a bucket and then pour that over my flowers, and it's safe to do so. So the sticky Fabri-Solvy is it's kind of like a piece of fabric. It's a non-woven stabilizer. I'm trying to find it. It disappeared on me. So the sticky Fabri-Solvy stabilizer is a non-woven stabilizer, and the really cool thing about this is that it peels off kind of like a postage stamp, and it has a sticky surface on the background so that you can take that and place it on top of a practice quilt sandwich. And then go to your sewing machine, thread your machine with the thread you want to work with. Now I would recommend a decorative thread such as rayon, polyester, polylite, cotton thread, or the cotton blendables. They're decorative threads. Your regular all-purpose thread is a little too light in weight and won't really show up when you do this type of work. So that's why you want a heavier decorative thread to do this. And just repeat these exercises. Now the one thing I want to point out to you so you don't make the same mistake that I did, I photocopied this. And when I photocopied it, the lines, the grid lines, the half-inch grid lines did not come through on this photocopy. So make sure you use that downloadable exercise sheet and you'll get those lines printed in the background. So once you're finished doing that exercise, you have the option of trying it one more time. And what I would recommend doing is taking a piece of paper or the fabric, either one, or you could do both, and draw your grids on there so you don't have your training wheels from the exercise sheet, so you can practice on your own, so that you know when you sit down behind your sewing machine, you're really ready, you're really prepared, and you're going to have the best results that you possibly can. But you have to be patient with yourself, because if you've never done anything like this before, it does take a little time, and that's certainly okay. But these exercises are very key. I think that if you can draw a design, you can certainly stitch it out. When I was ready to stitch the background of this pre-printed panel, I used my quilter's ruler and I lined a ½ inch up on this line here. That was my guide, and I used a friction pen to make my lines. A friction pen is, it's not really a sewing tool, but it is commonly used by a lot of sewers because there's some benefits to it. Amazingly, it disappears with the heat from a dry, hot iron, and that is just so easy just to make it disappear. There's a lot of people that do not like working with the friction pens because if it gets cold, they'll come back. So just keep that in mind. So I just used that top line to start my grid, measured down. When I got to the poinsettia, I didn't draw the line all the way across. I just worked around, and in fact, I also stitched around. So I did not stitch this pattern in the leaves or the poinsettia itself. And you need horizontal and vertical lines. And if you don't want them to be a 1/2 inch, that's fine. When you go to draw and practice on paper or fabric first before you try it on your actual project, make sure that you you draw the grid in the size that you want to apply to the background of your project. It can't get any easier than this, and this is a really fun exercise. It sets you up for success, and that means you'll be happy with it. Now remember, we have that 3 to 4 foot rule that you can't be up on top of it. We all know where we make our mistakes, but when people look at this, when they come to your house, chances are they're going to be from across the room, and or they're only going to be a couple feet away from it, so they're not going to see that imperfection. You can certainly use a thread that blends in with the background. That will help you make your mistakes less noticeable. You also want to use a matching thread in the bobbin. So if you're using a cotton thread up top, you want to use a coordinating or the same color in the bobbin as well, and that's going to help cover up some of your mistakes also. Hey sewing friends, this concludes the video. I hope that you enjoyed this lesson, and I hope that you try this exercise on your own. You might even be inspired to use the sticky Fabri-Solvy. Don't forget that exercise sheet will be available with this post on my website, and that's sewingmachineartistry.com. And if you didn't know, I am an affiliate for Sulky, and what that means is there's a special link embedded on my website that if you click on it, you get directed to the Sulky web store where you can order any supplies that you might need. And Sulky is adding products to their website all the time. It's not just threads and stabilizers, but there's some other cool things on there as well. And as a benefit of being an affiliate for Sulky, I get a small percentage of the sale, and every little bit helps, so I'd appreciate it if you use my link if you need supplies. And until the next time, so long.